Now on CoastTV News.
Dangerous rip currents.
For those who aren't strong swimmers, to check in with a lifeguard.
The signs beachgoers need to look out for.
Rehoboth Commissioner's election, the priorities for each candidate.
Millsboro bypass progress. What part of the big project is now open?
This is CoastTV News at 6.
A live look into Rehoboth Beach where choppy conditions are causing concern. Good evening. I'm Madeline Overturf.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. Some big waves there. Yeah. Welcome to our News at 6. We begin tonight with rip currents along the coast.
Lots of people were at the beach today, but lifeguards there in Rehoboth, they are on high alert for everybody on the coast. Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams is live in Rehoboth Beach, and Paul, rip currents are the #1 weather-related danger.
So as we take a look right now, the aggressiveness of the waves right now has yet to relent throughout a good portion of the day. And by the way, I was just checking with the lifeguards. They've actually checked out. They've clocked out for the rest of the day. So swimming right now is strictly at your own risk. That being said, the National Weather Service has a 3-tier system in which to warn you about what's happening with these rip currents. First is considered low, which there's not a likelihood of the rip currents to occur. Moderate, where it's a possibility. And where we are right now. In fact, take a look at this graphic. You'll notice that the red line, this is indicating the beaches in which we have concern for rip currents. Now, this reaches from Lewis all the way down towards Fenwick Island. And then that concern goes across state lines to Maryland, where we go from Ocean City all the way down to Assateague. And so that's why we have such a concern for these rip currents. Now, here's a look at some video from earlier this afternoon, and you can see this has been an all-day situation. And early next week brings increasing heat and humidity with highs in the upper 80s and potential thunderstorms possibly by Thursday. Such warmth combined with increasing afternoon winds and possible storm activity can elevate wave energy and increase the risk of rip currents, especially in surf zones.
I advise definitely for those who aren't strong swimmers to check in with a lifeguard, keep it, knee deep. I don't suggest going out in this kind of surf. And if you do get caught in a rip current, best thing to do is to either swim parallel or to wait and conserve your energy until it dies out and you can safely swim back in.
That's very important. Nobody is that strong of a swimmer. Secondly, swim parallel to the shore to escape the current. And if you can't escape, float or tread water. And if you need help, call out and wave for assistance. But now here's the problem with that. Right now, as I just said a few moments ago, the lifeguards are off duty at this present time, so you're swimming at your own risk. And these waves have been unrelenting and they have yet to stop. They're swelling between 4 to even up to 6 feet high. So please be careful, or better yet, be a land lover, not necessarily out in this water. Reporting live from Rehoboth Beach, I'm Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams, Coast TV News.
Paul, thank you. Now let's look live into Ocean City, where rip currents have also remained a concern. Our first alert meteorologist, Chris Mastrobuono, is in-house with a look at our watches and warnings.
Good evening, Maddie and Charlie. Yeah, that's going to be an issue we're going to be dealing with all throughout the weekend, and it's going to be really nice. You're going to want to go down to the shore and get in that ocean, so be very mindful and use a lot of caution as that rip current effect is going to take place all the way down the Delmarva coastline. And a live look into Ocean City, beautiful out there. We're at 76 degrees, dew point 62, so very comfortable. It's going to be a really nice evening. 74 Indian River Inlet to 74 in Rehoboth. We're at 75 Georgetown and 75 in Bridgeville. There you see those winds, one of the components producing these high rip current risks, and it's a combination of that high to the north and that area of low pressure to our south. You get that squeeze effect producing those high rip currents. Now we're going to see temperatures drop to about 67 on around 10 o'clock. Clear skies, so that's going to allow temperatures to fall to the lower 60s, maybe even a few upper 50s tonight. We'll talk more about that weekend coming up a bit later on. Charlie.
Thank you, Chris. A longtime pastor from Easton was arrested by ICE on July 21st after being accused of overstaying his visa for 24 years. One of Daniel Fuentes Espinal's friends told Coast TV his detention occurred moments after he visited a Lowe's store on his way to work. Fuentes Espinal, a husband and father of 3, is now in a detention facility in Louisiana. Telemundo Delmarva and Coast TV News reporter Ana Sofia Roman shows us how the community is reacting.
Damaris Aguirre, who preferred not to show her face, has been friends with Pastor Daniel Fuentes Espinal for over a decade. She described Pastor Fuentes Espinal as a noble and respectful man.
I think everyone here in Easton who knows him is saddened. The sadness of the fact that he is a good person who doesn't go around hurting anyone, but rather helps others find the right path. It's sad that they focus on people like that.
The afternoon of
Len Foxwell is a former neighbor of Pastor Fuentes Espinal. Foxwell's son, Darren, who recently passed away after a car accident, was a best friend of Pastor Fuentes Espinal's son, Daniel.
His relationship with Daniel, the pastor's son, was such that Daniel was at my son's bedside at Maryland Shock Trauma on the day he was pronounced dead. And Pastor Fuentes Espinal spoke at my son's funeral services on July 2nd. So I mention that only to say that the relationship between our families and my personal commitment to the pastor and to his family runs very, very deep.
Cristal Herrera works at La Selecta, a Hispanic store in the downtown area of Easton. Herrera says Pastor Fuentes Espinal's wife is a frequent client there.
It is something unfortunate that they took him away, especially since he has been good. He is a support for the Easton community.
CoastTV was told Pastor Fuentes Espinal is part of Iglesia del Nazareno Jesús Te Ama in Easton.
The church is very sad about what is happening to them, because it is not easy that overnight the pastor, who is the one in charge of everything there in the church, is not there.
A beloved man in the Easton community, now behind bars. Foxwell told CoastTV News Fuentes Espinal has a bond review hearing scheduled for early next week. They're hoping he can post bond and ultimately be reunited with his family. In Easton, Ana Sofia Roman, CoastTV News.
This brings us to our Coast TV poll. We want to know, what do you think about how these decisions are made?
Yeah, we've been asking you that all day. Let's take a look so far, and it looks like 41% believe that criminal record should guide deportation decisions. 33% though say it should be case by case. 20% say visa terms, 6% say public impact. And we do have a comment I want to read to you right now. This comment is from Robert in Lewis. He says if a person is here helping the community in a positive way, and his full comment actually said like firefighters in churches, but we abridged it to make it on the screen. He says if a person is here helping the community in a positive way, they should be allowed to stay and earn their citizenship. Now, a person with a criminal record, he says, should be the first to face deportation.
And we will show you updated results on Coast TV News at 11. Remember, you can also leave a comment.
A big step forward for the Millsboro bypass. Eastbound 20 to southbound 113 is reopening, as well as Sheep Pen Road. On your screen now is a map of the project aimed at fixing traffic in downtown Millsboro. And we got some footage today of the bypass work going on. This is, of course, in the Millsboro area. Now, the bypass is expected to fully reopen late in September.
Election day in Rehoboth Beach just hours away, and candidates are making their last push to try to convince the voters in the nation's summer capital. Coast TV News reporter Brandon Ferguson is in our newsroom. Brandon, each candidate has a unique story of how they got here.
Charlie, Jeffrey Good, Susan Stewart, and Chris Galanti are the three people running for those two open commissioner spots. Jeffrey Good is husband of current city commissioner Suzanne Good and is also a retired federal employee. Susan Stewart is a lawyer and is already on the Rehoboth Beach Planning Commission and the Mixed Use and Stormwater Utility Task Forces, and a financial advisor with a major wealth management firm. Chris Galanti has no relation to the city and is a senior program and account manager overseeing complex government contracts. Each candidate laid out what they want voters to know ahead of Election Day.
My commitment to voters is I will be respectful, I will do my homework, so I'll make informed votes, and I'll work hard to understand what people want and have it reflected in our agenda.
I'm the only one running who will focus on fiscal sanity of the city. I believe we're really headed into the wrong direction.
I bring a data fact-based approach to decision making. I like to find commonality with my colleagues and work collaboratively on solution and problem solving, and that's the type of perspective that I'll bring.
Tomorrow is Election Day in the nation's summer capital. You can vote from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the city's convention center, and tune into Coast TV News at 11 as we learn the election results. Maddie and Charlie, back to you.
All right, thank you, Brandon. The Wallops Visitor Center near Chincoteague is shutting down. The center attracted more than 41,000 visitors and 4,000 spectators at rocket launch viewing events in 2024. Those numbers pushed out by the Wallops Federal Workers Union Thursday afternoon. They're calling on lawmakers at the state and federal level to help reverse this decision.
I make sure that they get everything I'm getting. The other thing I try to do is at the state level, we put a lot of money into Wallops as well. The state dumps a tremendous amount of money into Wallops, and I'm there as the senator trying to protect that. Rob Bluxham is there as a delegate trying to protect that. At least the state's portion of the money we're putting into it.
Wallops union leadership are calling for an economic and community impact study, a public hearing and stakeholder forum, and also congressional oversight to investigate the planned closure.
A heads up for Indian River School District parents. A new student registration will temporarily pause to registration and will close August 27th at 4 p.m. It will then reopen September 4th at 8 a.m. Parents can expect calls about bus routes on August 14th and class lists on August 21st.
Maryland's tax-free week returns this weekend to help to save on back-to-school shopping. Qualifying clothes and shoes under $100 and the first $40 put towards backpacks. Those are tax-exempt in-store and online. Shoppers will be able to avoid the 6% sales tax beginning Sunday through next Saturday in Maryland.
Many in Rehoboth Beach know the Royal Treat, an old ice cream and breakfast shop. It's been gone for years, but today Funland says the longtime proprietor Ed Fornwalt passed away.
Funland Rehoboth Beach posted on Facebook in remembrance of their dear friend, saying Ed, along with his wife Doris, son Scott, daughter Deb, and other family members, served their famous breakfasts and ice cream treats to a generation of families, including ours. He will be deeply missed. And we're just getting started on Coast TV News at 6.
We have a record-breaking fish out of Ocean City. How much it weighed in at?
And a really nice weekend shaping up on Delmarva. Despite that high risk of rip currents, we're going to stay below average until next week, where we see the return of the 90-degree temperatures. We'll talk more about that here in a few minutes.
First, a look at the leaderboards. Day 5 of the White Marlin Open. We're back in just 60 seconds.
This is Coast TV News at 6.
Let's take you right into the leaderboards of the White Marlin Open, Charlie.
That's right, and this is sponsored by Rudy Marine. Let's take a look and see what we have today.
The Billfisher, #1, still in the White Marlin category, the only one actually there right now.
That is true. And then looking at the Blue Marlin category, a massive 929.5 pounder still on top. That was brought in by the Barbara B.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the tuna category. We got Mama C, No Limit, and Don't Ask.
And in second, Release No Limit brought in a 92.5 pound fish. And in third, Don't Ask brought in a 61-pound tuna.
Finally, for Dolphin, Barbara B, Rochambeau, and Sweet Freedom. We've been tracking all of these guys.
That is right. And it has been a busy tournament.
Oh, yeah. Super, super busy. It runs through Sunday, and we will keep you updated.
White Marlin Open leaderboard coverage is sponsored by RudyMarine.com, where family boating begins.
Well, it has been a really nice afternoon on Delmarva, and we're only going to progress even better over the weekend as we gradually get warmer through next week. We're at 76 right now in Lewis. Dew points are around 67 degrees, 75 Milton to 76 Milford to 75 in Salisbury. You can see dew points right now generally in the lower 60s, so that is still a comfortable, tolerable level, all thanks to that northeast wind flow helping to create that dangerous threat of rip currents through the weekend. You can see it through the Delaware coast, all the way down into Ocean City through Astig Island. Again, swim near those lifeguards, use caution, do not go in as deep as you may normally do, despite the weather being so nice this weekend. Small craft advisory up through 1 o'clock Saturday off the Maryland and Virginia coastline. Mix of sun and clouds throughout the day today. High pressure building in. So we have the high and then the low to the north, and that squeeze play is allowing for those gustier winds, allowing for the strong risk of rip currents. This area of low pressure is going to lift off to the northeast throughout the weekend. 60 to 67 tonight. A really nice, pleasant night under mainly clear skies. Tomorrow afternoon, looking at plenty of sunshine from Lewis, Rehoboth to Dewey. Temperatures upper 70s to around 80. Bethany 78 to 81 in Ocean City. So Futurecast shows the clear skies tomorrow afternoon. Now tomorrow night into Sunday morning, it is going to be another cool night. In fact, some areas away from the coast dipping into the upper 50s. So cool, crisp start to our Sunday. That will give way to a mostly sunny afternoon. Highs reaching the lower to mid 80s inland, upper 70s at the coast. Now the mugginess, yes, that's going to return by next week, especially Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're going to be in that very humid range as dew points go back into the lower 70s. And that high you saw is going to slide off to our south, and that's going to open the door for that southwest wind flow, and that's going to allow for the sticky tropical-like air to move back in as well as the 90-degree temperature. So beautiful weekend across the area, again, with that high risk of rip currents. So use caution if you're heading to the shore this weekend. 84, we stay pretty dry through the weekend and into the start of next week. 87 Tuesday, and then there's those 90s coming back Wednesday through Friday.
A record-breaking fish caught off the coast in Ocean City. The Maryland Department of Natural Resources says Dominic Vuado from Pennsylvania landed a 21 and 3-pound blue line tilefish July 26th while fishing way offshore near Washington Canyon. This was Vuado's first time fishing, and he was originally looking for a tuna.
Since the early days of Athlete Academy, Layla Hamrock has been working hard to get better.
I've been coming to Athlete Academy for 7 years, ever since my cousin opened it.
So you've been here since like they were over in the garage, or?
Yeah, in the garage.
Now a 10th grader at Stephen Decatur, she says Athlete Academy is transforming her game in goal on the lacrosse field.
I feel like really getting my speed and strength up has also helped me be explosive in the cage and just overall.
Hamrock says the focus on quick twitch speed and overall strength has changed her game drastically. The focus at Athlete Academy is building a complete athlete, and Hamrock says for any athlete, this is the place to train.
I would definitely recommend Athlete Academy to other athletes. I just feel like it really helps you be a better overall athlete, and just the community here is so great.
But not only is she focusing on strength and speed, but making sure she's enjoying what she does.
I feel like really, no matter if I'm having like a good or bad day, I always feel like I want to come here. And I just like seeing everybody's faces, all the coaches, all the people, it just really lifts my mood and makes me happy.
In Berlin, I'm Darren Wallace for DSN.
Well, we'll have some really nice conditions tonight to view the sturgeon moon. Yes, the full moon for August. The name comes from the large number of sturgeon fish that were found in the Great Lakes this time of year. Now, keep a note, the last three full moons of this year are super moons, so looking forward to that. So keep in mind that peaks tonight in the wee hours of Saturday morning. Monica Kiddo of Dagsboro, Delaware, you're the winner of our Paul Davis umbrella. You get your forecast anytime by dialing the First Alert weather phone. A really nice weekend shaping up here on Delmarva with that high risk of rip currents, but we stay nice and dry and mild through the start of next week, and then it's the return of heat and humidity with afternoon storm chances Thursday and Friday.
All right, Chris, thank you, and thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 6.
For more news, more local weather, download our Coast TV News app.
The NBC Nightly News is up next.
And we'll see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 11. Have a great evening.